Okay, so this is the movie that subscribers have predicted that I would give a C to. I'm honestly surprised. I figured that would have been a lot lower. I had heard some pretty bad word of mouth on this, so I went into it like, ooh, I can't wait to see this. What kind of train wreck am I gonna see before my eyes? And then I'm watching the movie, and I'm like, it's not that bad. But look, I mean, it's not great either. Yeah, it's pretty dated in that it very much feels like the kind of movie you would have seen in the early mid-2000s. That's how I felt about the Venom movie, so I guess that's the theme with the Sony universe. But I know a lot of people who really like the Venom movies for that very reason. Whereas me, I'm not really nostalgic for that time period, so it didn't really work on me. Here, I think this is a movie I still would have thought wasn't that bad if it had been made some years ago. What feels like a theatrical mid-2000s movie today also feels like a modern pilot on network television. But I do really like that it's far less of a superhero movie and way more of a monster film, as Dr. Morbius injects himself with this form of vampirism, and it becomes sort of this Jekyll and Hyde mad scientist movie, where he's gotta contain himself from going out and killing people. Granted, it plays it extremely safe and doesn't have much teeth. It goes out of its way to show very, very little blood in scenes that honestly should have quite a bit. I was a little confused about his powers too. I don't know much about this character, honestly, so I was watching it like, okay, now he's a vampire, now he can fly, now he's Neo from the Matrix, now he's like the Wolfman. He's basically turning into a giant bat, it seems, and surrounds himself with a lot of bats that he can also mind control. Honestly, this movie feels like someone was hired to write a Batman movie, and they'd never heard of Batman before and only saw the name, so they're like, oh, well, he gets injected and turns into a giant bat, right? I mean, okay, I can do this. For as much as I've seen some of the early word talking about the CGI, it was really no worse than what I usually see in movies. Some of it is shot weird, and the context for them is a little funny sometimes, but there were solid action scenes and fight scenes that really aren't on display a lot in the trailer. But if there's one thing that really carried me through this, it's how great Matt Smith is here. Yeah, it's another one of those where the villain is an evil version of the hero, but goddamn, Matt Smith is having a ball in this. It's a blast every time he's on screen, from this Kaiser Soze-like sequence to him going amazingly over the top as if he's Nicolas Cage in Vampire's Kiss if he really did turn into a vampire. This is a great villain, and he's damn near worth the ticket price alone. Jared Leto is also very good here. I love that a movie this silly is the most restrained I've seen him in years. It's one of those flicks where it's just a lot of little things that don't really work, from some lines to some pretty contrived scenes to the forced romance to people dying at just the right moment. But none of it was stuff that made me think, well, this movie is bad. However, it's got the dumbest use of bullies that I've seen in a while. The hospital that Morbius is in as a kid is across the street from the school, where the bullies just stand outside and taunt them through the window. Then Morbius's friend goes out there because he's got a paper that falls out the window, and the bullies have the paper, and they're like, ah, you can't have this back, you stupid nerd. And then they start kicking him and beating him with his own crutch. What? Oh yeah, and the post-credit scenes, yeah, okay, those are pretty bad. I don't even know what kind of sense they even make. From what I thought the rules were in a previous movie, now I'm like, well, how did this happen? Why is he here? And it's a very manufactured and editing scene with a lot of bad ADR and Jared Leto saying nondescript lines that you could apply to about any context. The movie is mainly just very generic, so overall, I'd give it a light C+, in that there were a couple times I almost nodded off, and I really don't know how much you need to rush out to theaters to see it. but there are good things about it, and it's not the worst movie that has Marvel's name attached to it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Our new Snob episode on April Fool's Day was supposed to be out last Monday, but is currently going through copyright limbo, although you can still see it over on our Patreon page. Just follow the links in the description and in the comments, and we'll see you next time.